Brian Broaddus, I am on cloud nine. What an absolutely dominant performance. The first drive offensively looked a little bit ugly, but boy, did Dak settle in. He played, in my opinion, probably his best game of his career when you factor in that this was the postseason, the quarterback on the other sideline. But this defense, we have not seen this defense in what, a month and a half, 2 months?
They did a really nice job. You're absolutely right about that. The quarterback was outstanding. The offensive line was outstanding. The backs, the receivers, they did a great job. In this game, it was going to come down to, did you have the ability to protect? And Cowboys ran the ball. I thought Kellen Moore called a really good game. I really didn't like the call at the end of the 3rd and 8. Because I didn't want to put the defense back out there for another drive. Trying, you'd been moving the ball, maybe hit Schultz there, get the first down. I know I'm nitpicking a little bit there. But just at the end of the game, I think you put your defense in harm's way with that play call. But overall, you got to give Kellen a lot of credit. The Dak's line, the way he was able to move the football, the way he was able to find the receivers. Guys did a great job running routes. The offensive line got shuffled around again. It went back to the original offensive line that we've seen with Tyler Smith playing out at left tackle and then McGovern going in at left guard. I thought they did a great job. We talked about in the pregame that really the Buccaneers, they don't have a pass rush. They really, really don't have a pass rush. Their pass rush, their number one sacker is their nose man. And so they were able to, hang in there, protect the middle, and then also secure the edges when they had to. Dak made them pay for that. And I think to say the receivers, Gallup, with what he was done, CD, Schultz, all those guys, tip of the cap. Quarterback was super accurate throwing the ball today. He looked pretty comfortable throwing it, and like he hasn't in the last few weeks.
Yeah, no question. And you're right. I mean, Kellen Moore deserves a ton of credit, a ton of praise. I've been critical of him. You've been critical of him. I think a lot of Cowboy fans have been frustrated, but the different variations of personnel, the different looks they gave. I mean, they came in and you could tell they were going to try everything they could to get the line going, but the running game going. And the use of McGovern at fullback, lining McGovern up as an extra blocker at times. Then when you lose Jason Peters, then you go back to the original offensive line. But getting guys in motion, getting the tight ends back involved as well. Kellen Moore did an excellent job. Dak Prescott was brilliant. The execution was there. It was great to see Michael Gallup have a big game. As you said, 5 catches, 46 yards, and a touchdown. Leighton Vander Esch was huge on defense. I mean, you saw immediately the impact that it made getting those players back healthy. Tyler Biadasz settling down the offensive line at center. The offensive line, to your point, was brilliant. It made everything go. But Leighton Vander Esch, 9 total tackles. You look at what they were able to do with Jonathan Hankins. He got the first sack of the game, one of the 2 that the Cowboys had. Really did an excellent job of stopping the run. I mean, what a difference this game was compared to the first one. Leonard Fournette, 5 carries, 11 yards. I think we were all a little bit nervous. Would you get playoff Lenny in a repeat from what he showed us week 1?
Yeah, that's, the Cowboys clearly had a plan for how they wanted to play this game. And if you look at really, I think this game really turned around for the Cowboys in a very positive way is when Brady got intercepted in the red zone. I think you look at how, all of a sudden the Cowboys were a little bit on their heels. They get the turnover, and then they just drive the ball. And it really was like a 14-point swing right there for them to take the ball and then drive the length of drive, to get the touchdown right there. So, tip of the cap to the defense, to Dan Quinn, what they were able to do. Brady threw the ball 66 times tonight. Ooh. They only ran it 12 times. And, so I kind of feeling like that they were going to get a little bit more pressure in this game. I think they were kind of buzzing around him. I think the coverage was good too. We were talking about in the, leading up to this game, can you make this a game where it's contested plays? Mm-hmm. Can you make this a contested game of having for these Buccaneer receivers? You could see where Brady just did not have much space to throw the football, and he wasn't very confident. There were several times where he just pitched it into the ground, and then, and the Cowboys were able to kind of rally and get back. So, great job. Finally got to see a holding call that ends that streak. That they forced a holding call.
Even got a roughing the passer?
Yeah, a lot of good things. A lot of good things happened for the Cowboys in this game against the Buccaneers.
It's a heck of a night. I mean, what a performance all the way around. Certainly, if you want to look at the negatives, and we'll have time to talk about it. Brett Maher with the missed extra points, and you certainly, your heart had to be in your stomach, thinking, "My gosh, I really hope those 3 points don't come back to bite you." Then it was 4 points. Fortunately, he corrects it, makes his last extra point. But overall, my goodness, offensively, defensively, great. And Jayron Kearse intercepting Tom Brady in the end zone there. That was Brady's first red zone interception since he joined the Bucs in 2020. He had been so good. And how about Dak? It feels like every single postgame we've had to talk about this. Yeah. No matter how good Dak's played, it's the turnovers. Tonight, turnover-free football for number 4.
Yeah, if he plays like that, this is going to be a team that's going to be a hard out. Because, that's the thing about with Dak is he had really total control of the game tonight. And a lot of some of the problems that he's had is just his inability to see the field. And even Troy Aikman was talking about it himself of how he felt like that Dak did see the field much better tonight than what we've had in the past. So, again, that's what you need. The thing that is very, very concerning to me, though, is now Brett Maher. Because if you're going to come back, you're going to get home at 3:30 in the morning tonight. You're going to have Tuesday tomorrow as a player day off, and then you're going to have to get right into the schedule because of the game being, you have a Sunday night, basically a Sunday, evening game. You're not going to have a lot of time to go work out kickers and bring kickers in. And if you bring a kicker in and all of a sudden Brett Maher gets the word that there's tryouts and stuff like that, you could even damage this guy even further. They have got to figure out a way. I don't think it was the grass field. I just feel like that, Maher missed the field goal or the extra point against the Commanders. And then, and then it was left hash push, left hash push. And then you started, and then the one was a miss to the hook. And then he hit one off the top of the upright. So, yeah, you're in a little bit of a bind right now because you do not want to go out and now have to make a change the week of a game. Because if you don't find the right guy and you're bringing people in for tryouts and stuff, you can kill what little bit of confidence this guy might have.
It's a great point. And I don't know, I always go back to, I think it was Jimmy Johnson, made the point, maybe it was the Cowboys' second consecutive Super Bowl during that 93 season. And at the end of the year, he had a kicker issue, and he said, the second your kicker loses confidence, well, I need to go get a new kicker.
Right.
But, Brett Maher's been so good this year, you don't want to have a knee-jerk overreaction to just, but to your point, he missed that last week. So,
yeah.
Do you have to? Do you have
it's
to
a
go
bind.
and look?
Yeah, you're in a bind. You really are in a bind. And like I said, you're in a short week if you really think about things. And, do you have time to, as the team gets in, Will McClay and Bones Fossils and those guys, they keep emergency lists of kickers. This isn't an injury thing. This is a confidence thing right now. And, he's been kicking well all year. The last 2 weeks have not been good. The kickoffs were a little short tonight as well. So I don't know. I feel like that you probably have to ride with this guy, through this week and see if in fact you could practice well enough that maybe he can correct what he needs corrected and they can go forward.
31-14, Cowboys beat the Bucs. The official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys, brought to you by Pepsi, made for Cowboys watching. Zach Wolchuk alongside Brian Broaddus, and a lot of excitement coming from Twitter, coming from the text line, 877-881-1053. We got Twitch. We got YouTube as well. And we had a lot of praise for, how about Izzy? Israel Mukuamu, who we found out before the game was actually going to get quite a lot of run, and he did. He got a lot of playing time. We haven't heard anything on Jayron Kearse either, who left that game, and JK was playing fantastic as well. But Dan Quinn, and you made this point in the pregame, you almost, when you're playing against a Tom Brady, do you have two different game plans? First half, second half.
Yeah.
But Dan Quinn used some different personnel than we've seen lately, going with Mukuamu, who we thought had an excellent training camp and maybe we're a little bit surprised they didn't give him some run with all the struggles that they've had at that opposite corner. You didn't see as much as Xavier Rhodes as I think we were expecting during the week. And then maybe you saw why at the end there where he beats Mike Evans. Now, maybe he expected safety help, but I really think Izzy Mukuamu deserves to be pointed out as a guy that really stood out to me tonight and helped defensively settle things down in the secondary.
I did a nice job, and I'm looking forward to seeing, the opportunities that he had. And we've kind of talked all week, with Xavier Rhodes, what his issues are. And I think we all saw his issues on that deep ball that they missed on at the end of that football game. He does not run well. And that's going to be an issue right there. If you're Dan Quinn and this defensive coaches, you've probably got to play around this. You've got to probably figure out, okay, is having a guy out there that is a veteran guy that can play the snaps and stuff like that, the worth it? Or are you worried about all of a sudden the ball, him getting attacked when he's on the field, with the vertical passing game? Because it's very, very clear. He just does not have the speed or the quickness to be able to handle that.
But the Cowboys did, for the most part, the entire game, they did an excellent job at challenging the Bucs receivers. All those plays, they were contested.
They made it a contested game. And I felt like going in when we were doing our show this afternoon that, one of the things you have to do in this game against Tampa is make it contested plays. And they were able to do that.
They did. And Dak, fantastic tonight. 5 total touchdowns, which is a record for a Cowboys player in the postseason. He also is the third Cowboys quarterback to throw 4 touchdowns in a playoff game, joining Troy Aikman, who did it in the Super Bowl against Buffalo, and then Roger Staubach, who did it at the LA Rams. The last time the Cowboys won a road playoff game in these navy blue jerseys. So a couple of streaks snapped tonight. Not only did the Cowboys get a road playoff win for the first time since that NFC Championship win at Candlestick over the Niners, but they also win in those navy blues.
No, good job all around. And I'll tell you this, really, Zach Martin and Tyron Smith on that right side. I felt like, we mentioned Tyler Smith and what he was able to do, and McGovern and those guys. But it looked like tonight, this is, maybe we're starting to see that, that Tyron Smith turning the corner. He has not been very good up until this point, but tonight he looked like that he was in good shape. The 49ers will present different pass rushers. So now it will be, hopefully, like I say, you had a really good game. And hopefully you can carry that thing over into next week, because you're going to face a lot better pass rushers.
Certainly. And for Tyron and Zach, and I asked you this kind of during the game, is it as simple as just the repetitions?
It's actually, I think it's just with Tyron Smith, it's more about technique. He's such a technician the way he plays. And so when you're talking about, left foot up, right foot back, that's just the complete opposite for him. Yeah, the reps and stuff. Yeah. I think it's a very good observation on your part. I just like to see, like I say, him and Zach Martin. It looked like to me when they were able to run the ball on the edge, and some of the inside runs that they were able to pull off were because that they were able to get Martin up on a second level and things like that. So
absolutely
good for them.
And credit the rookie Tyler Smith as well, not only playing left guard, but then having to kick out and play left tackle as well when Jason Peters goes down. We'll talk a lot more about that Cowboys offensive line. We got Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy as well. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
To go out and that's what these championship quarterbacks do. They find a way to play week after week after week, in these huge games. And he was outstanding tonight. He really, really was. But that's the thing about it is that they need him to be outstanding again next week. They need him to play the type of game, to be accurate, to be able to run a little bit, to when he has to throw a block, whatever he has to do to win these games, do it. But this team has this team has a chance to win every game they're in, as long as he doesn't turn over the ball. That's the thing, and you saw it tonight. Was a great example. He went up against the greatest, maybe the greatest football player ever. A guy who does not lose in playoff games, and he went toe to toe with Tom Brady, and he was the better of the two tonight, and got that victory. So good for him. But they need him to play as well as he did tonight, again next week as well.
Yep, no question. Can you stack the success and be consistent to make a deep postseason run? But tonight was certainly a step in the right direction, and one that now will go on the resume, and certainly a big resume builder for Dak Prescott. Post-game, he caught up with Lisa Salters, courtesy of ESPN.
Dak, after those first couple of possessions, you were 0 for 3. You seemed to catch fire. Just what changed for you?
We settled in. Missed a couple of early. But then we settled in. We got in the groove. able to show the run the ball a little bit, and just everything off of that started working.
What was it like for you this week personally, hearing all the talk about the last time the Cowboys had last won a playoff game on the road, how much pressure there was on you? Just what was it like navigating through all of that?
I didn't listen. Simply just didn't listen to anybody else's opinions, anybody else's thoughts. Made sure I was conscious of what I put in my own head. Got a great supporting cast and my team, people that believe in me, and that's all that really matters to me, and just stay focused on what I can do.
Can't celebrate too long. San Francisco's next. How do you get another road playoff win?
Yeah, excited for it. It's a good team. They took us out last year. We know what we've got ahead of us. Just going to be another great week of preparation, and look forward to it.
All right, thank you, Dak. Congratulations.
Dak Prescott there with Lisa Salters, courtesy of ESPN. And certainly that's going to be a monster of an opponent. Maybe nobody's playing better than the 49ers right now. They certainly have an 11-game win streak that they're rocking. We'll have plenty of time to break that one down.
Yeah.
But
They might run the ball 66 times instead of Tampa throwing it 66 times. Yeah, they are playing very well. It's a different front, and it's a situation too where they've got so many weapons with that you have to deal with their offense that it makes it very difficult. But that's a great thing. You prepare, you challenge, and you go play the game.
Absolutely, there's no question about that. All right, we got Mike McCarthy, who caught up with the media, courtesy of WinStar, World Casino and Resort, home to over 8,500 of your favorite electronic games, more than 1,000 table game seats, and 1,400 luxury hotel rooms. It's always a good time at WinStar, World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Let's hear from Coach.
What was the key to that defensive performance to certainly Dak's mouth?
Well, I think it's just like anything, it starts in your preparation, and you always want to see it carry over into the game. But, to a man, everybody had great confidence in what we needed to do tonight. And I thought, offense and defense played, at a very high level this evening. So the key was just really staying true to the game plan. We wanted to be balanced on offense. I think we accomplished that. We tried to get going there on the first series, had a couple, 3 incompletions, but then once we settled in, I felt like we did what we needed to do. They played some overload defense. We saw some 6-2 fronts, out of the 4-3 personnel. So they challenged us in the box, and we were still able to stay committed to the run game and grind it out. And defensively, I just thought we were all over them as soon as we got off the bus. I mean, I just thought our defense really set the tempo for the game, for a couple 3-and-outs here to start the game, and just did a great job.
Mike Parsons, ESPN. You've seen great playoff performances from quarterbacks. How good was Dak tonight?
I mean, as good as I've seen, that's for sure. I think just like anything, he's so consistent in everything he does, and like you said, we had a couple plays there early, but I mean, he was on it the rest of the evening. I thought he was, Kellen and the play calling. We just really stayed true to what we wanted to do in here, and like I said, I thought he played extremely well, and stayed aggressive, and took the check downs. I thought he had great command of the offense and excellent presence in the pocket.
Calvin Watkins last one. You said with stacking the box, say should you run game has success. What does it say about running attack?
Well, I just think it's starts up front with our big guys. Obviously we lost Jason Peters there, in the game, and then just to go in there and just to keep rolling. So, like I said, they were really challenging the box defensively. So we had our variation of scheme was higher than normal, and it's just a real credit to our players and coaches.
Mike, and word of ESPN milestone victory for you personally, your first playoff win as a Cowboys coach.
Dang right. Did I say that right? No. Yeah.
How do you feel about this achievement?
How do I feel? Oh, I'm just so happy for the players and the coaches. I mean, just thinking like everybody in this league. You start this journey in April, and everybody fights like crazy to get in the tournament. We sat around all weekend watching 5 games. It's been a great wild card weekend, and we were real excited. I was real impressed, particularly with Baltimore last night and the intensity. I thought it was great for our players to see that. As part of the message this morning, just because playoff football is different, and it was definitely different here tonight. And I thought our guys, played the way we needed to play to get the win.
Michael Galvin, Dallas Morning News. You mentioned the defensive performance. What
stood out to you about how they were able to go about containing that offense, marching offense?
Well, I just think the biggest thing, it starts up front, getting off blocks, rallying to the football, we just really emphasized the finish and squeezing their perimeters. I mean, you look at the passing game. We anticipated them to throw the ball a lot. A lot of the underneath completions. I thought our underneath coverage components were intact, aggressive. We got our hands on a number of balls today. I know we didn't get the takeaways that we normally get, but most important, we were in position for takeaways, and we were all over the football. Had the pressure. You had excellent pressure, particularly at key parts in the game. The third and fourth downs. So I thought the defense played extremely well throughout all three levels.
You guys had 5 safeties active. Ball was one of them. He
Yep.
did a lot of corner. What would you make of his outing?
I thought he played really well. I hope he's fine. He had a hamstring. We'll find out more tomorrow. But yeah, I thought he did a really good job. Obviously, when J.K. went down, he was in there exclusively. So, the biggest thing that we were able to accomplish coming out of the last 3 weeks of the season was to get our defensive personnel flowing. We had some new players that we needed to try out in there, and you could see it clearly this week where we were really able to get into a groove and a rhythm, and Dan spinning the calls in there quickly, and I thought our defense played with great pace and throughout the operation, but most importantly performed at an extremely high level.
First playoff win on the road in 30 years, being a quarterback that has got to lose to this team. What are you most proud of when you look at this performance tonight?
I'm just proud of the journey keeps going. I mean, and that's really where my mind's always been. I get all the bells and whistles that go, with the game, and and history is important and so forth. But this was, about the 2022, Cowboys and the Buccaneers, and it's as simple and as clean as that. And I know it might not be sexy, but that's how we go, and we're excited to get to go to San Francisco.
Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy after the 31-14 Cowboys win over the Bucs. Mentioned a hammy with McCwamu.
I think he said that, yeah.
We'll find out more.
Find out tomorrow, for sure.
And I guess still evaluating Jayron Kearse as well. Hopefully nothing serious, because they're going to need those guys moving forward against a really good 49ers team. But an incredible performance from Kearse, who had the interception in the red zone against Brady. Also almost had a second interception as well. But I thought Mukuamu was brilliant. Him and Leighton Vander Esch, their ability to patrol the middle of the field tonight was very, very impressive. Not only that, but the pass rush as well. Right now, let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds to allow stations to identify themselves across the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan. Hello, baby. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Cowboys Nation, let's enjoy this one. We want to hear from you. It's the post-game victory party, 877-881-1053. Cowboys slay the GOAT. Tom Brady, they get a road playoff win, and it's on to San Francisco. How you feeling? Plus, we got the voice of your Cowboys, Brad Sham. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Prescott in the gun, back to throw. Well protected, going to the end zone. Schultz at the goal line, and he's in for the touchdown.
Boom, baby, the first of 2 Dalton Schultz touchdowns tonight, as he was the Cowboys' leading receiver, 7 catches, 95 yards, couple of TDs on 8 targets. Well, boy, was Dalton Schultz good. And I think we all just need to wear the same thing, do the same thing, be with the same people, hold the same hands. And we'll run it back next week, Sunday, 5:30 kick from San Francisco. We'll be on the air for the pregame at 2:30, and it's going to be another party. I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm a little superstitious.
Yeah, playoff football. Great history. Great history between these 2 organizations when it comes to playoff football. It goes way back into the 70s. And then the 49ers, with Bill Walsh, they got better. And all of a sudden, then those rivalries. And then you look in the early 90s. And, it's, Cowboys playing. I know the game's not in San Francisco. It's in Santa Clara. But, man, that's a very, very – a very good football crowd, and that will be a really difficult environment to play in, but it should be a lot of fun when you when you suit up and play in a place like that.
We will get some audio from the locker room coming up later on in the post-game show, but Bobby Belt has told us that he talked to Jayron Kearse.
And he says his knee is fine.
Great news.
Yep, absolutely.
Great news moving forward, especially ahead of next week's matchup in San Fran, as you mentioned, at Levi Stadium. But let's hit the phones. Brought to you by Blockchain. You don't need a complicated play to bring it into the end zone. That's why you should trust the team at blockchain.com to make buying, selling, and trading crypto easy. Play smarter, not harder with blockchain.com. Celebratory 31-14. Cowboys win. Let's start off with Nick in McKinney. Nick, you're on the official postgame show of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, Cowboys Nation. Good evening. Thank you guys for letting me be on the air tonight.
Of course.
Hey, man. I'm very strategic. I'm very tactical. I'm very analytical in the way I look at the game. Broadus, my cousin, wanted me to tell you, thank you for all that you do. Me, I'm 31, so I think you're kind of old, but I do appreciate your knowledge. I do appreciate your context, especially the group of 7. Thank you for putting me on Michael Lombardi. With that said, it's all about the passion tonight, man. It's all about the passion tonight. And let me tell you why. Because the same people that would have been criticized if we would have lost tonight are the same people that deserve all the praise. And that is this coaching staff and Dakota Rain Prescott. This Cowboys Nation has went through Jason Garrett for too long. The 12-12 season didn't need to be talked. The 12-4 season, 13, whatever it was, it didn't need to be talked about because this coaching staff proved that it could do the job once again. So all we needed to focus on was the playoffs. And tonight, I want to let them know the way that they prepared everybody. They need to see that Vegas just opened up San Francisco -4.5 at home with Mr. Irrelevant Dak. Hey, Mike, they think you're incompetent compared to Mike Shanahan. DQ. Didn't he lose you the Super Bowl? Kellen Moore. Look at DeMeco Ryans as a player. Look at how he made decisions on the field. Maybe that'll help you understand him as a D coordinator. Look, it's all about the passion because this is what we deserve. We're thirsty. They got my mouth watering.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Nick. I hear you. I love the passion. I love the energy that you're bringing, and these are all great talking points for the matchup against the Niners. Kyle Shanahan and Dan Quinn know each other very, very well.
Yeah.
And that chess match will be fascinating. And I'm sure that Mike McCarthy will have his team on alert, that they will be the underdogs in that matchup.
Yeah, and it's going to be on a short week. They're going to get home about 3:30 tonight, and they're going to have to get things kind of cleaned up and get ready to be on the field Wednesday. And, this is just a difficult team to deal with. You dealt with the greatest quarterback ever, and now you're dealing with a quarterback who is, like we said, was Mr. Irrelevant and all that. But this team is so well built.
Oh, they're playing great.
Yeah.
They are playing fantastic. But the Cowboys played fantastic. When they play complimentary football like that, they are a tough team to beat. 31-14. They beat Tom Brady for the first time, and they get a road playoff win. Let's head out to the voice of your Cowboys, Brad Sham, who's joining us now on the official postgame show of the Cowboys. Brad, how was that locker room? I'm sure it was buzzing with enthusiasm.
Well, they're happy. They worked really hard, and that was a lot that they had to do, and they know what's in front of them, including a really physically demanding week against maybe the best team in the league.
Yeah.
And they know how they're going to feel physically on Wednesday, but they came to win the game and put themselves in that position. So they're pretty happy. But you know what? There's nobody's popping any champagne corks or blowing up balloons. They're very happy. And it's like they did what they came to do.
Brad, was it the quarterback today or was it the offensive line?
Well, I would say, as you know, Brian, it's never one without the other. I thought that the quarterback. You're talking about from Dallas's point of view?
Yeah, Dallas's point of view.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, they had to have, as you mentioned. Yeah, I know they do go hand in hand for sure. But if you had to say, listen, this game was won because of a quarterback today, or this offensive line being able to kind of control that front.
Yeah, I would say that the quarterback was nearly perfect.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything that he did wrong. I mean, he did not put the ball in harm's way ever. He made just some really perfect throws. He fit a couple into tight windows that he had help on. Now, he did have good work done in front of him. Wait till you go back and look at the tape. There were a couple of plays that I saw where, bless his heart, there were running plays that didn't look good. And then when I saw a replay, Brian, they're asking Jason Peters to pull out from left tackle.
Can't do that.
Yes.
All the
Can't
way
do that.
across the formation.
Can't do that. Yeah, he can't do that.
And twice he wasn't able to get there.
Yeah.
And that's not his fault.
Nope.
Now, that Tyron can do that, but he can't do that.
And so could Tyler Smith. Right. Yeah.
And so could Tyler Smith.
Right.
But Peters can't do that. But by and large, I saw Vea swim Biotish one time.
Mm-hmm.
Vita Vea is going to do that from time to time. But I thought Biotish was good. I thought Martin was good. I thought Tyron and Tyler Smith were both really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did a good job of really not putting Prescott in much trouble, but I thought Prescott was very nearly perfect.
Good.
I'm
sure
not
was.
sure that I've seen him ever play any better.
Yeah, okay. So I was going to follow up and ask you that because you're always good at keeping just a level-headed approach after this and keeping it all into perspective and not having a knee-jerk reaction. But given the circumstances in where you're playing, who you're playing against, was this the best game of Dak Prescott's career? Because I think it was.
Well, it might very well be. And, there's – for as much as he does not want to say that it got in his head, I mean, last week could not have helped any of them.
No.
And he doesn't listen, but he hears, if that makes any sense. So he knows what people are saying. People are telling him, and he's aware of people thinking he's the weak link in one thing and another, and he doesn't believe that he is. And under the circumstances, playoffs, knowing you have to be, Zach, I'm a big believer that he's one quarterback is not playing the other quarterback.
Yeah.
But when the other quarterback is a guy with Brady's reputation and accomplishments, I believe there is a certain onus on the quarterback to at least match him, stay with him. You can't fall behind because you know what that guy can do. And today, I said the game was over-caffeinated for most of the first quarter. It was real jumpy. Neither team was doing anything. And then at some point, it kind of settled down just a little bit. And they had the one drive, the roughing the passer helped.
It did.
And he hit the one pass to Gallup on the sideline. Wasn't a great throw. Gallup made a really nice play. And that's where I think it started to settle down. They got their feet under them a little bit. And from that point, it felt like they were pretty much in command. And I just, I'd have to go back. You'd have to look at 16. There were some games that were really, really good.
Pittsburgh.
And I don't remember them. Yeah, Pittsburgh.
Green Bay.
Yeah. But under these circumstances, I just can't imagine what else you would have asked for. What, he throw 4 touchdown passes and tied
he did.
a Cowboy record that is held by Staubach and Aikman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not bad.
No. Hey, Brad, and when you're in the locker room, did you have a chance? Was Brett Maher talking to people or?
Oh, yeah. Oh, listen, stand-up guy, when I got in there, the crowd around him was 6 deep. And so I couldn't get anywhere near him. Other players were reminding him that they had his back.
Yeah.
And I hope – I've never seen anything like that. And I hope that he got it back a little bit on the last extra point. And they will show confidence in him. But they need him. And that was bizarre. Brian, you ever see anything like that?
No, I haven't. It reminded me very much of when guys when offensive linemen used to have to kick extra points like in the 50s.
Yeah,
and it was like you blocked all the way down, and then now you got a guy kicking extra points, and that's when the goalposts were on the goal line. So
right.
it's crazy. I've never seen anything like it. I was just thinking that you can't come home and make a kicking change right now. Not on a short week.
No.
That's not going to happen in your opinion, right?
No, I think what you have to do is look at the body of work. Yeah, this was frighteningly bad. Yeah. And the only thing I'm less worried about what he did than about how it's in his head, because these kickers, as you well know, they're all a little mental, and they get that. And Maher is so level-headed.
Yeah,
and he does not let things get to him. He's had such a phenomenal year. So I believe that they are going to and ought to treat it as an outlier and proceed as though there's nothing to see here, folks. Citizens, all go home and line up. If they need him to kick a field goal next week, they'll just line up and send him out for the field goal and show faith in him. I think that might be the quickest way to get him back. Absolutely, you can't go conduct a kicking caravan in the middle of the play.
No, I just don't see that happening. Any chance? I wonder if they move him off that left hash and just say, because I know when I'm out there at the Star, I've seen him when they play these grass games. He goes out there and takes a bag of balls and practices, and I don't think it was the grass. I don't think it was the grass at all. I think he just the kick, the last kick that he had there in Washington, and now all of a sudden you're kind of like, okay, I'm standing on that same hash, and here I'm going to go push one on you.
When they're thinking about it that much, and it's such a fine mechanical thing between making them and missing them, and you all of a sudden have one like that, it's just it's such an aberration that I really think the only correct approach, if this was week 4, you might think about it. If he hadn't had the year he just had, a few days ago, I was talking to some people and looking at the list of who was unsigned and who do you want to sign. I said, well, you got to re-sign the kicker. And you just got to get his confidence back, because he showed you all year what he can do. This is not him. And you've got to, I think you as a staff, you've got to go back. And you know that Fossil will work with him and the psychologists will work with him. Yeah. And he's not a flighty guy. They've had kickers who were. And he's not one of those guys. And I think the right approach is you just say, we believe in you. We've seen you all year. This game is over. And don't worry about it, because you're our guy. And just see if he doesn't just get it back.
Yeah, I wish this is where Steve Hoffman was somehow in this picture somewhere, somehow. Yeah,
I know.
Steve Hoffman could go down to Home Depot or Lowe's and get 10 guys to work out, and one of them would be an all-pro when it was all said and done.
For the people who are listening who don't know what Brian's talking about, they had in the Johnson coaching era, they had a guy named Steve Hoffman who was the kicker coach.
Yeah.
And he was so good.
He was great
at finding them. The reason they never had a long-term kicker was they never wanted to spend any money on a kicker once the salary cap came into vogue, because they said Hoffman will find us another one, and he always did.
Always did.
And it was Lynn Elliott, and it was Boniol, and it was just go back to the early 90s and read the list of kickers, and every 3 years when the guy's contract would run out, Hoffman would go find another one, and those days are over. But I in Maher's case, complete aberration, absolutely horrifying. Feel bad for the guy, and I would just act like nothing ever happened, and let's go forward.
Brad, thank you so much. Safe travels, and let's do it again next Sunday.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Thanks, Zach.
Oh, there he goes. The voice of your Cowboys, Brad Sham, after a 31-14 win over the Bucs in Tampa. What a game it was. I know we got the phone lines full, 877-881-1053. We will hear from you. We will also hear from Dak Prescott, more from the locker room as well. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
1st and 10 at their own 21. Snap to Prescott. Got a lot of time throwing deep. Middle caught across the 35 by Schultz. And he's got the ball up to the 40-yard line.
Oh, baby. Cowboys victory party continues. 31-14. They beat Tom Brady. Was it Brady's last game? Who knows? But the Cowboys are moving on. They got a date with the 49ers next week. Zach Wolchuk, Brian Broaddus hanging out with you, the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys as they survive and advance in this one. Well, it certainly felt maybe in doubt. It's never easy when you've got Tom Brady on the other sideline, but scoreboard-wise, Cowboys are in control from start to finish.
No, they did a great job defensively, and you know, I asked that question of Brad. The quarterback played outstanding, and he's right about it. It's a hand-in-hand thing, but you know, this game was going to be about could you control what was going on in the middle of that Buccaneers defense? Could you find a way to handle those linebackers? Because if you did, you had the opportunity to make some plays, and we saw that. Dak did a great job seeing the field, throwing the ball, the routes. You know, Dalton Schultz, the minute you want to kind of like, Dalton Schultz, move on, then you realize, wow, Dalton Schultz on a franchise tag was probably a pretty good thing to have, you know. But they did a really, really nice job with the upfront, with the line controlled the game. You know, I felt like, though, you know, the Buccaneers, with the guys that they had back, you know, there were going to be some problems on their offensive line. I think Dallas was able to get some pressure, enough pressure where it affected the way that Brady threw the ball. You know, there was I'm surprised they didn't take more shots down the field, but I think because of the early pressure,
yeah, absolutely,
it made him have to think, okay, I can't hold this ball and take a shot. I got to find a way to get it out of my hand quickly. They tried a couple of screen passes that went for nothing in this game. Balls were tipped. They were in good position. You know, they tackled well enough. I mean, there's some things that they probably, when they watch the game, will have to clean up when it comes to that, you know, the tackling stuff.
You'll need Trayvon Diggs to want to tackle if you want to beat the Niners.
That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. He's not going to tackle. He's just, now I'll say this, the Cincinnati game this year, he had those plays back to back, a third down play and a fourth down play where he tackled, and you know, it was like a one-on-one, it was a drag down, and but when the play is right at him, that's hard for him. He just does not want to be. I mean, early in that game, with, you know, the drive that they threw, and I'm just pointing this out, I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but the drive that they had when it was 3rd and 7, they could have got off the field. That drive, when the Buccaneers threw that interception, that was the drive that it was 3rd and 7, and if he just rallies to the ball and gets the guy down short of the sticks, they're off the field. I mean, you're right. You, in the playoffs, you can't have just this unwillingness to tackle.
Yeah.
You gotta sell out. You gotta try and get the guy down and get the defense off the field, because they got that first down, and what did they do? They drove the ball all the way down, and now you're having to play defense, and you're very fortunate you got the interception from Kearse.
We'll hear from Dak Prescott and Jayron Kearse along with Jerry Jones coming up momentarily. But let's head back out to the phones. I know a lot of you are waiting patiently. 877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. Let's go to line 3. We got Randy in Dallas. Randy, you're on with Zach Wolchuk and Brian Broaddus.
Yeah, hey, guys. Listen, I take issue with the narrative somehow that this is Dak's best game. Come on, man, give me a break. Dak has thrown for over 300 yards and had multiple great games over the years, but all of a sudden the man throws a few back-to-back interceptions in the game, and now we question whether or not does he have the ability to move this team forward. Every quarterback throws interceptions in this league, even the best ones, okay, and it gets overlooked, never even get talked about. Here's my opinion, what really set Dak apart. It was that offensive line that gave Dak a very clean pocket to throw from, which you don't normally see. And that it was a major, major difference, I think. The reason why this team, particularly the offense, looks so crisp is because of the offensive line.
Randy, don't disagree with you, but how is it a bad narrative when Dak Prescott throws for 4 passing touchdowns, runs for 1? He's the only player in Cowboys history to have 5 total touchdowns in the playoffs, to say that that's his best game of his career.
Or not his best game. Yeah.
excuse me, sir, but your partner sitting next to you when you guys first opened up, he mentioned that there was a bunch of people questioning him. I listened to the station. I listened to all you guys. All you guys have narrative, very biased narratives, by the way, against Dak because he throws interceptions.
That's not
now,
true.
I got some issues
That's
with
not
that
true.
too,
That's not true at
yes,
all.
It is, man. That's very true.
No, it's not true at all, sir.
The reason why?
No, sir. You're jumping on now because of the situation. Dak Prescott was not very good last week. We were very clear about that. There's been some games this year where Dak has thrown interceptions. We've been very clear about that. They've been very fortunate to win some games where Dak has thrown some interceptions. So to me, I think that the thing about it is I'm not saying that every single person on the station has an opinion that, everybody agrees with, but I think for the most part, I think we've been fair about it. I think that we've been fair of the criticism of Dak, but I also think we've been fair about the praise of Dak.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest. This was an important game for Dak. I'm the one that said that I felt like that Josh Allen had more pressure on him than Dak, But this was one of those games where if Dak Prescott goes to Tampa and they lose, now you're starting to talk about, why are they not winning in playoffs?
Yeah.
He played outstanding tonight. And I think you're right. That's why I asked the question to Brad Sham. I thought the offensive line was a huge factor.
Fantastic.
It helped him see the field in a clearer light. So I agree with you about that part, but for you to come on and say that we're not fair to him, I will respectively disagree with you.
All right, let's go to Greg in Dallas. Greg, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys. How's it going? What a good win tonight. We beat Tom Brady. I got a question mainly for you, Broadus. It's about Brett Maher. Seeing him miss these field goals coming up with San Francisco, we're really going to need him. If his struggles continue, do you think we'll start going for 2 more often?
I don't think so. I mean, the last thing you need, to me, is you have to go into the game trying the extra points. If all of a sudden you get to San Francisco and he misses the first extra point, and then now you'll know you're like, listen, we can't rely. Look what they did. Look what they did tonight. They went for it on 4th down, down near the goal line. I thought it was a great call, by the way. The one where Dak, was able to get outside. They went for it again. They threw the ball to CeeDee Lamb for the touchdown.
Fantastic
Another
call.
great call. They could have taken opportunities to try and, kick field goals and make that happen. But, I think that what everybody's talking about, you try and work through this week and you see if you get to San Francisco and it's a problem, then maybe you'll have to think about maybe doing something else.
Well, Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones, I'm sure, asked about the Brett Maher and the kicking situation postgame. Here's Jerry's thoughts.
Thought he was outstanding. Before the game, I was talking with Coach Mike, and we both agreed Dak was going to have to be the one that won it. Not necessarily the defense, although he'd be the first to tell you, and I would too, it's a team game. But the defense, when you get in a game like this, you've got to have a great, really outstanding quarterback play. And boy, he met the mark in every way. And I told him right before the game, we were talking, I said, don't you be anything but aggressive. No conservative, be aggressive. Not that made any difference at all, but boy, he was. And it made the difference out there tonight. It lifted not only on the plays he made, but it lifted the spirit of the team, and it's got us lifted now in a position to go play a really great team and a really outstanding team. I'm going to use that word, G word. They're an outstanding team.
Jerry also did go on to say that Brett Maher is the team's kicker moving forward. So I don't believe that they will be making a kicking change.
Yeah, you hope that it doesn't affect what happens to you in San Francisco. Another grass field. We'll see what the conditions. Last week they played a game. I mean, the rains out in Northern California have been pretty, prominent out there, and that's, you just never know what weather you're going to get in that part of the country at this time of the year. So you have to be ready for that. But it's just something that psychologically that Brett Maher has to, he get on the plane tonight, crack a beer, and sit there and just kind of be grateful that you're going to have another opportunity to kick next week.
Update from Jerry brought to you by the Salvation Army Love Beyond. I know we got a lot more calls and texts to get through. Plus, we'll hear from your quarterback, Dak Prescott, coming up next. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
showing a blitz. They're not blitzing. Prescott escapes out to his left. Running, he's eyeing the stick. Diving with a first down at the 45-yard line of Tampa Bay.
Oh, Dak was brilliant tonight. 25 of 33, 305 yards, 4 touchdowns, add in a rushing touchdown. Also a long run of 11 yards tonight. Dak doing it with his legs and with his arm as the Cowboys are moving on to the divisional round of the playoffs against the 49ers, 31-14. They beat Tom Brady and the Bucs here tonight. Zach Wolchuk hanging out with Brian Broaddus and you. 877-881-1053. We'll get back to the phones here in just a moment. Well, let's get some tape from the locker room brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And it was number 4, Dak Prescott, talking with the media following an outstanding performance by number 4.
Yeah, did you know going into this game that you're about to have that type of game?
In a sense, yeah. Prepared well. I knew, obviously, watching tape what this team was going to be able to create matchups, what we're going to be able to do. But, yeah.
Was that Washington any extra motivation?
In a sense, I mean, I guess, I got away from the way that I play this game, got greedy. Tried to just force some throws, try to take the big ones, and that's not who I've been throughout my career. Obviously, just taking what they give me, waiting on the big shot, and I think it was uncharacteristic. So yeah, sure, it was a way for me to just dial back in. But at the sense, I mean, I wiped that clean and just I knew what this game meant. I knew how important it was for us, and just, as I said, prepared.
Obviously, you had a fantastic game, which led the offense to having a resilient bounce back from Washington. But talk about the defense and just how you guys played off of each other.
Yeah, I mean, defense, after the first 2 possessions, I mean, without them going to do what they do, creating those 3 and outs and just giving us the ball right back, could be a different story. So, I mean, as you said, complimentary football. And that's the way it's been when this team is on fire. And when this team is on, they make stops, we go and turn into points, and just got to continue to build off of that. And when we're able to do that, tough team to beat.
Coming off the game where you saw 3 11 and outs, you start the game with 2 3 and outs, and then back it up with 2 back-to-back touchdowns. How did you stay steady so that this game didn't go the same direction?
Preparation and easy, just knowing what this group's capable of doing, not getting frustrated within, and I can't say that I didn't do that last week. There was a little bit of frustration, but this week, knowing that I couldn't allow that to get in my head, I couldn't allow me to change the way that I played this game. I obviously credit the defense for, as I said, getting us the ball right back after those 2 possessions, and just told the offense in the huddle, hey, we get 1 first down and this thing's going to roll. And that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, we just got to continue to do that.
Could you speak to the use of your mobility and athleticism? I mean, it was almost like the way you played early in your career.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was going to have to do that coming in. I've told you all along when the time's needed, I'm going to do that. And, yeah, I feel good, blessed to feel this healthy this late in the season. Credit to those guys up front, and just, as I said, just watching tape, knowing that those opportunities were going to come, and just tried to go stay ahead of the chains to keep this offense in good position.
Between the rushing touchdown and the where you scrambled out and then found out, I think your legs were pretty key on a couple touchdowns. Can you take us through what you were seeing in those plays?
The first one was just a great first one, yeah. First one just ran in. Yeah, great. Just play call by Kellen. I mean, the play call fooled the defense. I could have thrown it to Schultz. He had already had one, so I figured I'd run it. He spooked me a little bit, pointing at the guy coming after me. And then so on the one to him, I mean, great job by him. Seeing the coverage the same way I saw it. Wanted to get it to him early. The guy was doing a good job of playing in between him and TP in the flats. He gave me a little point of where he was going. I was just able to make the throw, but I mean, credit to him for just keeping that play alive and giving me somewhere to go with the ball.
Dak, of course, you mentioned the go complimentary football, just almost a complete game. How much better can this team get this season?
Yeah, we can start off the game like we did in that third drive. If we do that, it's even more pressure we're going to put on the other team that we're facing, and that's what we're going to have to do next week. Obviously, knowing the team that we've got in the 49ers, it's going to be important for us to start fast.
How do you support Maher through the difficulties he's had, knowing they likely need him against a team that doesn't get that very many points?
Yeah, I mean, I'm Money Maher's biggest fan. Obviously, I've been shown the video of me, and that's just emotion. That's part of it. But Yeah, I mean, I talked to him individually, told him after the game, hey, let that go. We're going to need it. I just played like a week ago, so I mean, that happens. But when you believe in each other and you believe in what we're capable of doing and knowing what that guy's done, what resiliency he's shown throughout his career personally, no doubt that he'll come back next week and be perfect and help us win.
At one point, I think a lot of us were wondering if the coaching staff was going to start going for 2 in the game to see him finally get one to the field goal. How did that make you guys feel on the sidelines?
As I said, I mean, we're up. So it wasn't like that was a deciding factor in the game. And fortunate obviously to have that cushion on that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, just happy for him. I have no doubt in Brett and what he's capable of doing. But obviously, as I said, when you coming off a game like I did, it's important just to see things go well and just to get back in your groove. And so that was huge for him, just I'm sure personally and individually, just to make that one and finish in the right way.
Dak Prescott is the second player with 300 in passing yards, 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions, and a rushing touchdown in a playoff game in NFL postseason history. The other quarterback might shock you. It's Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan also got the rushing touchdown there, but an incredible game for Dak and a good way to put it into perspective for Maher, who has really had a fantastic year and settled a big-time question we had leaving Oxnard in training camp. Really had been steady, the Maserati, and unfortunately today just a bad day. But, Dak put it as simple as he can. He said, hey, look, I played like bleep last week. It's okay. Just move forward.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, this you just don't need your kicker being bad in the playoffs. I mean, these games, we've seen how tough and tight, and the Cowboys honestly felt like they played as damn near as perfect of a game as they could play, with the exception of those missed extra points. And I'm watching the snap, and, Overton, the snapper, had the missed extra point was on the ground last week, but they got the ball up, laces away, you missed the extra point. I was watching one of the kicks, it hit the upright. It looked like it was a low snap. Maybe you need to look at the operation of what's going on here. But hell, do you want to sit there and change, snappers, in the playoffs? I don't know. I just feel like, though, that it's just not a good feeling with as close as these games are to have to be like going through this week. But they honestly, they're just going to have to do it. It's a short week, and you're going to have to grind it out.
Yep. No question. All right, let's try to sneak one more call in here, 877-881-1053. I know you've been waiting patiently. I want to try and get as much of the fan reaction as we celebrate a road playoff win. Let's go out to line 8, Will in Duncanville. Will, you're on the official postgame show of the Cowboys. What's going on?
How's it going, guys?
Doing well.
Good win. First, can we kill the noise about Dak being not clutch or not for the team? Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, you guys should know the numbers, but Patrick Mahomes, how many interceptions does he have this year?
Mahomes, he doesn't have as many as Dak. Dak led the league in picks.
Right. But Mahomes is not too far behind. So is Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen's had a lot.
Right. My thing is, right now, what we're witnessing with Dak, he's becoming probably next to Hurts in NFC, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. I don't know what Brady's going to do or what Aaron Rodgers is going to do, but other than those two in the NFC, this is what we're witnessing.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Will. And you can't have that conversation. Is Dak now the best quarterback remaining in the NFC? Patrick Mahomes, 12 interceptions in 17 games. I think Dak had 15 and 12?
12 games, yeah.
And 12? Mm-hmm. So certainly the ratio not in favor there for Dak. But yes, sometimes it does feel as though it's like Dak's the only quarterback to throw interceptions. That's not the case. His just did come in a bad, consistent streak of games. But he played turnover-free football tonight, and you can see just what a well-oiled machine this offense can look like.
Yeah, this is what the offense is capable of if he doesn't turn the ball over. that's how this is going to look.
Yep. No question. All right, more of your calls. Don't worry. We'll get to you. I know you're waiting patiently. We will get to you. Plus, we'll hear from Jayron Kearse. A lot of people saying, hey, injury updates. What's going on? Let's hear from JK. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Empty gun. Second down, snap back. Well protected. Now he escapes out to his left. Good block, Tyler Smith. Pumps, throws it in the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Dalton Schultz for the second time tonight.
11 plays, 91 yards in 3 minutes and 5 seconds to go up 18-0 right before the end of the half. That's our drive of the game, brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. Dalton Schultz with his second receiving touchdown of the game. And Dak Prescott, Kellen Moore. I mean, my goodness. Kellen Moore's a guy that, I'll admit it. I've been super critical of Kellen. I thought he was brilliant tonight. Brought back a lot of the things that I was asking, where the heck did it go? The use of the tight ends, the boots, the waggles. It was nice to see McGovern get in there and some of those Big Mac packages as well until Peters left the game. But I loved it. The use of various personnel, getting CeeDee Lamb involved, the ability to move around guys and pull. Now, it was a little bit weird seeing 40-year-old Jason Peters have to pull from the left side all the way over to the right side. A little tough ask for him there.
Yeah.
But he tried a lot to get this running game going, and ultimately it was effective. And they wore down this Bucs defense, and him and Dak were simpatico. Play calling, quarterback execution, it was beautiful.
Yeah, this is what I worried about with Jason Peters, though. He only has so many snaps in that 40-year-old body, and he had to play a lot of them last week. He just doesn't move well enough, in the running game stuff. And you felt like, though, the pass protection stuff was really good. So you kind of felt like, Bobby Belt and I were talking pregame that, could this be with the line the way it is, with Peters playing, could we see Dallas throwing the ball more in this game? But he was really, when he pass protects, it's pretty good. It's the run blocking stuff is a problem because he doesn't have the lateral slide or the quickness that he once had but I'll tell you what, pass blocker, he's a hard guy to get through when he's doing that.
We will get back out to the phones momentarily. I know a lot of you want to hear about the injury updates. We don't have anything on Jason Peters yet. I think we'll get more information. It was a hip injury. He did not return to the game. We'll probably get more when they get the team gets back to Dallas. He can get reevaluated in the morning. But we did get Bobby Belt with Jayron Kearse, and Jayron giving an update to Bobby. Here is JK after tonight's game.
Just take us through the pick in the end zone and how important you felt that play was in the way this game went.
Just playing my man, and got my eyes back to the quarterback, seeing him get ready to throw it, and when he threw it, turned and seen it was close enough for me to get, and just try to make sure I stay in bounds.
What's different about Tampa's offense compared to last year when you played down here and you were involved in that shootout?
It's really not much of a difference. I can't speak for what's going on with the offense, but they're not running anything different than we went up against them in 21 and then just last year. It's not anything different than they've been running.
How's your knee feeling?
It's feeling all right. I'll be good. Feeling all right. I'll be all right.
I know you've mentioned during the course of the season how tough the season ending was against San Francisco last year. Is it gratifying knowing that you'll get a chance to, exercise some of that against them in the playoffs next week?
Yeah, definitely. We get to right our wrongs. We wrote one tonight. We get to write another one tomorrow. Next week. So, it's all this about us doing our job. Like I said, coming into this week, doing our job, reading our keys, getting our eyes on the right thing, and we can go out there and play with anybody.
Just curious from a defensive player's perspective, what you saw in Dak tonight going out there and scoring 5 touchdowns.
I loved it. Just to see his confidence. The spotlight was on him. And he showed up in the spotlight. A lot of people would have wanted him to go out there and fold under the pressure, but he stood up, and he was the best quarterback on the field tonight.
Kearse also went on to tell Bobby that he was feeling okay. So hopefully he's good to go. And again, we'll find more information regarding the team's injuries when they get back home, and they'll be able to check all that out tomorrow. But no new information to tell you that. But good to hear from Jayron Kearse, and it does appear he'll be all right moving forward.
Yeah, that's that's you're just trying to at the end of that game, the Tampa was just frantically running plays, and every play was a pass play, and so now you're worried about rushers, you're worried about guys in secondary, everything. You're just trying not to, when the game is in hand, you just don't want to lose anybody to a hamstring injury, or you get a tackle, then all of a sudden there's a shoulder or a knee or something like that. Just like I say, it's tough. But Dallas did a great job defensively, and Kearse has been one of those guys that's really been kind of the glue that holds everything together. We talk about Leighton Vander Esch, outstanding today, the way that he played. Hankins having a sack. He had to be excited about that, but that's just that's what you got to have. You got to have guys like Kearse and Vander Esch and Hankins and others stepping up and making those big plays.
31-14, Cowboys get the road win over the Bucs. We'll get back to more of your calls in a moment, but first let's pause 10 seconds for station ID across the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan. Hello, baby. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Zach Wolchuk hanging out with Brian Broaddus, taking you to the top of the hour as it's a Cowboys postgame victory celebration on to San Francisco, baby. Let's get back out to the phones, get more of your reaction from Cowboys Nation. Let's head out to line 9. We got Sergio and Ennis. Sergio, what's happening, man?
What's going on?
Oh, not a lot, brother. We are just soaking in this Cowboys victory.
I'm with you right there with you. How about them Cowboys? All-time Swallow, Big Sur 36. So I got a couple things. I got Wolchuk. I got your beard growing back really nice.
Thank you.
Chrissy Corner, really appreciate that segment. That segment's always a gem.
Thank you, sir.
And at the same time, brothers, you said it's a perfect game, but at the same time, I would like to say that I think it's just a team playing to its fullest potential. And then another thing I got is Maher. I mean, him punching 1-3 was cool, but I really hope he doesn't have the yips. Felt like he was getting the yips there.
Yeah, let's hope that he does not have the yips there, Sergio.
Yeah, I don't know if the operation has been great. I would be interested to see what's going on. I'm watching highlights right now. It looks like to me they're showing it here on the
snap hold.
The snap.
Maybe high snap.
Not high. One was inside and the other was on the ground last week. So I don't know. I mean, maybe this is something that, that Bones Fossil and the crew needs to look at. But Overton, if the ball is all over the place and the punt that was dropped the other day and the snap, the ball was to the right. And me speaking as a former long snapper, I'm not saying I was perfect, but if the ball's on the ground, and they're having to pick it up, or the ball's inside and it's messing with the operation, then that's something they sure have to look at, going forward.
Start warming up, Brian.
Yeah,
might need you in San Francisco.
Those days, you know what? I was at that San Francisco Dallas game the last time they won. What was that? 30 years ago.
Yeah,
I was there. Yeah. So yeah, that's I'm not. Yeah, Don't.
No, I can't sweet talk you into that.
The one he just made, they just showed the one he just made was a perfect snap.
Maybe you're on something there.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I know you'll go back and you'll get the tape, so make sure you hang out with us in the G-Bag Nation 2 to 7 on the flagship 105.3 The Fan 240. Brian Broaddus has his Krusty's Corner every day. He'll be the first one to break all of that down. All right, let's sneak one more call in here before we go to break. Bayless, line 7 in Houston's been waiting for a while. Bayless, what's going on, man?
Hey, y'all. I just wanted to say thanks for having me on. Brian Broaddus, Bully, big fans. I just want to say, how about them Cowboys? That's all I got to say.
Woo! How about them, baby? Love the call. Thank you, Bayless. How about them Cowboys? 31-14. They get the dub. That opens up a couple of lines, 877-881-1053. We got Tony Pollard, CD Lamb, more player audio as the post-game victory party rolls on. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
They're going to run a play. 4th and 4. Back to throw it out to the left all alone. Caught at the 2. And a walk-in touchdown for CeeDee Lamb. How did you not cover the second team All-Pro?
That is our what a play of the game. 4th and 4. What a play call. Dak Prescott finding CeeDee Lamb to really put this game away. Put a bow on it. That's our what a play of the game. The Whataburger Breakfast Burger is back. A fresh 100% beef patty, melted cheese, hash brown sticks, fresh cracked egg, bacon, and creamy pepper sauce. Available from 11 to 11. And just for a limited time, 31-14, boys moving on as they beat the Bucs. It's a date at 5:30 next week against the 49ers at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. That's where Levi is?
Yes, Levi Stadium, yes.
There it is. All right. We're looking forward to that. We'll have pregame coverage beginning at 2:30. Network will be at 4:30, and, of course, postgame will rock until 11:30.
It's a weird time for a game.
It is very strange how they're staggering these ones.
Must be something going on. Or is there an award show going on that night?
I don't know.
Do we have the Oscars or the Golden Globes or something going on? I don't know. I know, like I say, it seems like Country Music Awards. We got something going on?
There could be.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Probably something going on there.
Yeah, it is an interesting start time. Usually they don't do that weird stuff until the conference championship round, but whatever. At least the Cowboys are playing in it. That is what feels great as the Cowboys get that road win, their first in 30 years, and their first road win in the Navy since the 70s when Roger Staubach did it, knocking off the Rams in L.A. Let's go back out to the phones. I know we want to hear from you as we're celebrating a Cowboys win. Let's head out to Alex in Dallas, line 6. Alex, what's going on? You're on the official postgame show of the Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys, first off? And Cowboy fan to the end, great station, love the Cowboys, love Dak. Just want to say, great quarterback. I just would wish they would work with him maybe on hitting the man in stride. He did a great job tonight and everything like that. Maybe if they could just work with him hitting a receiver in stride. Other than that, I have no problem with him. Great game.
Appreciate the call, Alex. Thank you very much. Dak, brilliant, 25 of 33. A couple of really beautiful touch passes. That one he had on the sideline to Dalton Schultz.
Yeah.
Schultz kind of had to double catch it, but he was able to get it, staying with it and sliding. I mean, Dak had some pinpoint accuracy throws tonight.
The one he threw, the touchdown to Schultz, where Schultz uncovered himself, where Dak was rolling to the left, and we're all like, run it, or throw it out of bounds. One of those kind of things for him to go back and see Dalton Schultz inside. I mean, that's a great job by Schultz getting open, but nice job by Dak anticipating Schultz was going to get himself open on that play.
Let's go to line 1. We got CJ in Austin. CJ, what's happening, man?
What's going on, fellas? First time, long time, lifelong Cowboy fan. I hope everybody's got a printer handy so they can print out their Cowboys Super Bowl futures in a few weeks. It's going to be glorious. What a dominating performance by the boys going out and defeating the so-called GOAT quarterback. No. Domination, a lot of momentum moving forward. I wanted to ask you guys, because it's irked me a little bit after this game ended. The whole talk is about missed kicks and not the Cowboys ending the career of said so-called GOAT. What a dominating – let's talk about that, not kicker. Come on.
Yeah, CJ, I appreciate it. I don't think it's the end of Brady's career.
I don't think it is either.
I think Brady goes to another team next year that he thinks is in a bit of a better situation to win.
I don't think he got divorced to go off and do something else. I really do. I think he's divorced so he can go play football. Just an easy thing for him to do. He didn't have to answer anybody. Yeah, we'll see where he ends up, though. He's got kids that are on the East Coast now. Does he go to a West Coast team? And leave his kids and all that. We'll see. I just don't think it's the end of this guy's game. I know he was tipping his hat to the crowd and stuff like that. Maybe he was saying goodbye to the Tampa fans, but I think that he's probably going to find himself playing somewhere next year.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it is a great talking point. Hey, if it ends up being the last game of Brady's career, second largest postseason defeat that he's ever had, Cowboys finally able to beat him for the first time ever. It'd be a great way to send him out. Bye-bye, Tom. Thank you very much. Cowboys, go ahead and spank you. But I just find it hard to believe that that's the last we've seen of Tom Brady. I think it is the last we've seen of him as a Buck.
I do too.
But just not in the NFL. Yeah, I think he'll find somewhere else to play.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on with Tampa right now that, they just don't run the ball at all. He needs to get where they can, where they could find a way to run the ball, a lot more balance in his game. And then the play action stuff. But, man, I mean, I think Dallas made him look bad tonight.
They did.
I really do. And, I mean, he threw 66 times and, completed, 35 of them or something like that. But he was only a little less, almost 5.5 yards of completion. Yeah. 35 completions out of, 66 attempts. I'd say the Cowboys were on him from the word go.
They were.
McCarthy talked about it from the time they jumped off the bus. They were ready to go. Give DQ and that defensive staff a lot of credit for getting that done.
All right, let's jump down to line 5. We got Randy calling from California. What's going on, Randy?
Good. I called last week. I told you that Kellen Moore, I was the defender of him. He called an excellent play calling tonight.
He absolutely did.
Dak looked like a $49 million quarterback tonight. I only want to get on. Brian, what do you think that the Cowboys defense can do to protect Xavier Rhodes if he's our starting left corner, opposite of Trayvon Diggs? And that's about it. I don't start
Rhodes at corner. I think that Rhodes, I mean, to me, as much as I like the veteran presence and all that final pass that that they threw that they missed on, that Mike Evans missed, that scared the hell out of me. That no. I can't. I'm sorry. And maybe it's maybe now it's about getting maybe we'll see. Alexander, I mean, we've got to. I
think McQuamu did an excellent job.
No, that's what I'm saying though. I mean, do you find a slot?
Yeah.
Do you find a slot, and then how do you play the outside? You put Bland on the outside.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying here. I totally appreciate what they tried to do with Xavier Rhodes, but everything in front of him probably fine.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, you're talking about, they are going to see him on this field, and it is automatically going to be a situation where you go vertical on him. I don't know. I mean, he looked back inside like, where was my help? And I look back at him like, why are you carrying an anchor?
Yes.
And we talked about that. My gang of 7 guys were all like, Brian, he can't run. And that right there,
it was very evident,
opened my eyes. He gained no ground. And these receivers are only going to get better.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk. That dude's got some speed. Deebo Samuel, he can run away from you.
Yeah.
I mean, tackling is going to be paramount. Yeah. You're about to go up against the best yard after catch team in football.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you get these guys down to the ground. That's why as I'm wanting to just be on a high and celebrate this thing tonight, just enjoy this victory. These playoff wins don't come a lot. We haven't seen them in the last 2 decades since the Cowboys postseason dynasty, Super Bowl dynasty run. But as we foreshadow and look ahead, you're going to need guys to they tackled for the most part tonight very well. But you can't have 7 Trayvon Diggs go ahead and want to shy away from contact like he did. If he's in a one-on-one situation with Deebo Samuel, you might lose the game.
Yeah, that's the issue. He's a guy that sees himself as a cover guy, and at times he really doesn't cover. I mean, the next gen stats, I guarantee you they'll come out and said that he had a great game, and you know what, he probably did. There were probably some coverage situations where he was outstanding in, but when the ball comes his direction, man, that is scary. That is scary how they had a chance to get off the field on that 3rd and 7. You got to go. You got to make that tackle. You got to keep them short. You got to try. Trip them up. Throw your body in there. Because what happened is once they got that first down, they started driving the ball. They got all the way down to the damn goal line, and luckily you got a turnover out of it. But you could have been off the field probably 8 to 10 plays before that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, no question. All right, let's sneak one more call in here. Let's go out to Midland. We got Nate on line 3. Nate, what's going on, man?
Yeah, what's going on, you guys? Man, what do y'all think about we're doing all right, but what do you think about Dak's confidence going into the West Coast? Is he going to be okay doing that?
Wait. What's your question? I'm sorry. Did he go away? Did you hang up? You there, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Rephrase your question to me And I don't understand your question. What do you mean confidence in Dak in the West Coast? What are you getting at here? I just want to make sure I'm clear what you're saying.
I mean, is he scared of the West Coast Conference? Is he like?
So what? I don't know what you're asking.
I'm sorry. I really don't.
But no, I don't think he's scared of the 49ers.
I don't think he's scared. No, I don't.
Or playing on the West Coast.
No, I don't think so
He's
either.
gotten wins on the West Coast. This before. I mean, they beat the Chargers last year.
I just, I think that right now, offensively, with the Cowboys, I mean, let's be honest, they're a tough cover. CeeDee's a tough cover. It was nice to see Michael Gallup play the way he did.
Oh, amen.
It was nice to see Michael Gallup play absolutely the way he did, because I was kind of worried about that. I was worried that, and I know on a couple different platforms I was saying, hey, I want to see Michael Gallup make some plays and get that smile back on his face.
Yep.
And I think tonight we did that. I think that was a really, really good thing.
And I think Dak is going to be playing with a ton of confidence after the way that he played tonight. He's got to be. There's no question. He just played one of the best football games of his entire career.
The game you need to study is the Raider game. The 49ers got lit up on that game. I think that's a game that we all need to kind of study and figure out.
That was Jarrett Stidham at quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely.
So certainly could bode well. I mean, we'll be breaking that one down all week long. All right, we got a couple of more lines that we'll get to as you've been waiting. Plus, we'll hear from Micah Parsons and some more player reaction as well. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
In the shotgun, Brady with a play fake, and he throws it in the end zone. And it is intercepted in the back of the end zone. Picked off by Jayron Kearse on a ball that went a little too high of the target.
That is our defensive stand of the game, brought to you by Reliant and NRG Company. What a play by Jayron Kearse there to get the interception. It stopped what at the time was a 14-play, 70-yard drive for Tampa Bay as they were driving down to answer the Cowboys' score and possibly go up 7-6. And Kearse comes up with the red zone interception, the first of Brady's career as a Buc since he joined the team in 2020. Couldn't have come at a better moment.
No, and that's what we were talking about too. The Cowboys did a great job of getting pressure in the middle of the pocket there, and he was just literally looked like he was just trying to throw it away. And Kearse even talked about it in post, with Bobby that that he was just worried about keeping his feet in bounds, but read his keys and was in position to make the play. But that was that drive we were talking about where they could have got off the field on 3rd and 7. So hopefully you learned something from that. Make a great play on the back end, but boy, you sure could have ended that thing a lot earlier and you wouldn't have gotten in that situation.
So much for the grass, that conversation with the Cowboys being 1-4. I know that was a topic, and it was a little bit of a concern, but the pass rush was great tonight. They only did end up getting 2 sacks. They both came in the fourth quarter late. You got Hankins and Armstrong that got both of those.
Yeah, they harassed this guy tonight.
But,
though.
oh, man, they were on him early.
Yeah. The fact that he got dropped back 66 times, I mean, that is taxing in itself, rushing the passer. But only 5.5 yards of pass doing that tells you that guy did not have a whole heck of a lot of time to throw that ball to.
Yeah, and I tweeted it out the opening drive when the Cowboys got off the field on 3rd down, and it was 3rd and long, and they put out their 4-man rush, and it's Tank, it's Parsons, and you kick Fowler inside. And you also have Armstrong.
Yeah.
And those 4 had been just game records for the Cowboys when they were playing. And we were talking about them like, is this defense good enough to carry the team? Are they good enough to be one of the all-time better defenses that we've seen in recent years? And that's since faded towards the back half of the season. But they got home. And those guys were great. I thought Osa Odighizuwa was great. You saw a little bit from Golston again, who picked up where he left off.
That's what they had to have.
And they needed it, and they got it. And Micah almost had himself an interception, DeMarcus Ware-esque, against Michael Vick several years ago.
Yeah, no, that's you felt like that. I know in the pregame show and then our show before, we were kind of going through on matchups and things like that. I felt like that the Cowboys matched up really well with this offensive line, especially Micah Parsons going against Donovan Smith. I felt like, and you would see what happened at center. I just felt like that Osa, Golston, they went with a smaller, quick. Well, not that Golston's small, but they went with a quicker inside group as opposed to having Bohanna active and Gallimore active. They went with a smaller, more attacking of the middle of the pocket group. And it paid off for him. Really great adjustment by Dan Quinn and the staff.
No, pat yourself on the back, my friend. Not only did, they took advantage of those matchups, but you also said, hey, you need to play tight coverage. You need to make sure that you're contesting plays, and the Cowboys secondary did that for the most part tonight as well.
I felt like in this game, if they played contested football, if they played close enough and if you could get the rush home, it would make it difficult on Brady to make throws. And I think it did.
It absolutely was. And you could, even if they didn't get the sack, the pressure flustered him where he was shorting a lot of balls as well. Yep. Micah Parsons catching up with the media and our buddy Bobby Belt afterwards.
Micah, can that offense to basically 6 points most of the night, ultimately 14. How do you guys look back at the performance you guys just put on the field?
Take away the shots, the deep shots they got, we made them earn it every time. I think that's the key. We made the adjustments, knew what they wanted to do, said they couldn't beat us deep, so we executed our game plan for the most part.
Talk about the pressure that you all got on Brady.
Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of know, you got to get to the quarterback some way, somehow, so I knew my job had to go to an extra step, and going back and forth, blitzing on the ball, off the ball, giving them different looks, understanding that, they were sliding and chipping and trying to create short edges, so we got creative today. Shout out to DQ, so we was able to execute on that part too.
You guys have high expectations about being championship caliber defense, a special type of defense. To have this performance against a guy like Brady on the road, do you feel like you guys moved a step closer to that?
Oh yeah, we moved a step closer. I mean, when you talk about standard, I think that's the type of standard that we have approached. That we have to have that approach almost every time, and we got to continue that. We can't off the gas. Everyone was locked in, disappointed about that Washington loss. We need that same focus, that same attention to detail, that same execution going into this week too. Not get too high, just because you win that one game doesn't take you off that horse yet. We got to stay under the mud and stay hungry.
There were some comparisons made with the vibe in the locker room this week to coming out of the Green Bay loss going into the way you guys played against Minnesota. And sure enough, the results out here kind of reflected that. How do you keep that coming off of a performance like this?
You got to always keep that reminder in the back of your head, like, we're not planning to say, oh, hey, we can make it up next week. It's all or nothing now. There's no tomorrow. There's no next week. It's next year. You know what I'm saying? So we got to keep hungry, stay in mind, like, every inch matters, every play matters. Like, nothing matters. We got to give nothing but effort every time if we want to get to where we want to go.
You looked pretty banged up coming off the field at the end of the first half. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, bro. I thought I finished the game well. Continue to get my pressure, continue to keep going. I understand the circumstances I was faced with, but I'm excited for next week, excited for the matchup. They got a great line, they got some great ball players, and I'm excited to go against them.
What did you think of Dak tonight?
I thought Dak did what he was supposed to do. Well, we all expected. Like I said, sometimes unfair and unjust because of who we play for and the standard that we have. But he holds it well. He steps up when he has to, and kudos to him for the game he had.
Does it mean a little more to do it against Brady?
Yeah, just because I haven't beaten him yet, and who knows his future and stuff like that. And regardless of whatever record says, he's still a hell of a quarterback. They're a hell of a team. It was a hell of a win tonight. The Bengals last year weren't, the greatest team. They might have been 8-8, went all the way to the Super Bowl. So it really doesn't matter. Like I said, regular season is for the people. Postseason's for the players.
Postseason's for the players. The Lion is always hungry, as Micah Parsons certainly was ferocious tonight. And that whole defense was swarming, man. They played with a lot of team speed, which we hadn't seen in a few weeks. It was good to see that defense get back to playing that way.
Well, their team does not run the football. And that's what you worried a little bit. They hadn't run the ball really since the opening game against you and had any kind of success. White has given them a little bit. They went from like 60 yards a game to 80 yards a game. But once you completely took that away from them, then it was all about pin your ears back and try and get after Brady. They did a good job of that tonight.
All right, let's get a call in here if we can. Let's go to Victor in Grand Prairie. Victor, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on? I just want to say shout out to my dad and shout out to Stephen A. Smith, biggest haters. My dad said that the Cowboys were playing so good that the game was rigged. And at the same time, Stephen A. Smith had the nerve to show up in a Buccaneers jersey and told every Cowboys fan to show up in their Cowboys jersey. So he's a clown. And shout out to Faded, Honesty, Gabby, Shotgun Team. Shotgun, let's go.
Appreciate you, Victor.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I mean, Stephen A's a bit. I don't think Stephen A really even hates the Cowboys.
No, he really doesn't. He makes a lot of money, like, drawing you folks off sides. He really
good
does.
at it.
He's really good at it. Him and Jerry Jones are like best friends, and they're perfect for each other.
Yep.
And they know that. They're hand in hand the way that they promote the NFL, and Stephen A's made a living now out of, like, his shows. The majority of his shows deal with the Cowboys or the Lakers, but he draws you folks off sides all the time. And, good for you guys to get a little, little throwback at him for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure he knows and wear those Cowboy jerseys with pride all week as we get set for a divisional round matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. More to unpack as we will preview that one. Plus, we will unload the phone lines as well. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Pollard's come into the lineup. It's 4th and goal. They're going to pass up to 3.
What they're going to do is play action.
4th and goal. Man in motion left to right. Inside. Play action. Bootleg to the left. Prescott all the way. Runs it in for the touchdown. And he's fired up.
Oh, what a beautiful call it was. Dak Prescott, our player of the game, highest passer rating in a playoff game in Cowboys history with a minimum of 20 attempts, as he had a passer rating of 143.3. He also now has a rushing touchdown in 4 consecutive postseason games, a rushing and passing touchdown. He's the only player in NFL history with a rushing and passing score in 4 straight postseason contests. That's your quarterback, number 4, Dak Prescott. You're going to need him to play that well again next week against San Francisco. That'll kick off at 5:30 on Sunday right here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network with Brad Sham, Babe Laufenberg, Christy Scales, and boy, will that be a fun one.
I think it'll be interesting that Saturday, that 7:15 game with the Giants and the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants didn't play their guys and only lost that game by 6 when the Eagles were trying to win the game.
How healthy is Jalen Hurts?
He's not. He's not. And Philadelphia fans, I hope you learned your lesson calling me a clown because I told you he wasn't well, and I don't think he's still well. So that game will be, now they get the week off. The Giants are playing. Now think about this. Giants go out there and win that game. If you're a Cowboy fan, think about that. What your game now means. That means you win against San Francisco, you get the NFC Championship game to be played in your backyard against the Giants.
Don't give me goosebumps.
So, if Giants find a way to win and you find a way to win, this thing could be really interesting.
For the first time since realignment in 2002, you have 3 teams from the same division.
How about that?
That would advance to the divisional round. You got Cowboys, Eagles, Giants.
Yeah.
And it's just the 4th time since the 1970 merger that's happened. It happened in 97 with the Packers, Vikings, and Bucs. And then in 92 when the Cowboys, Eagles, and Washington all did it. Then you had to go back to 85 in the AFC East with the Dolphins, Patriots, and the Jets. So pretty impressive that 3 of the final 4 teams in the NFC all out of the East. And we'll see how that one ends up going.
I kind of felt like the Commanders should have been in the playoffs
instead
of the Giants.
I did as well.
Instead of the Giants. But, hey,
they played great. I mean, Daniel Jones really did play a great game against Minnesota.
Giants, outstanding.
Dave Ball's doing a great job over there.
Absolutely.
That's a team you're going to have to reckon with.
That is a very talent-poor team that believes a lot in its coach.
Yeah.
They really do. I mean, they got the quarterback's playing well, the runner. Their defensive tackles are really good, too. That'll give Philadelphia a little problems. Those big defensive tackles.
And Kayvon Thibodeau, he's figured it out. He gave Darisaw fits.
Lane Johnson. Let's see how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go out to Benjamin in Washington, D.C. Benjamin, what's going on, man?
How you guys doing tonight?
We're good, man. What's going on?
Well, I'm just dealing with these Commander fans. They're the Washington Buccaneers or the Washington or the Tampa Bay Commanders. I don't know. They'll probably be I'm assuming that they'll be the
Washington 49ers. Basically, whoever the Cowboys are playing against, they're rooting for.
Yes, this is what they do.
Yeah, I feel for you out there in Washington.
Oh, it's terrible. But next week it's all about physicality, guys. I mean, plain and simple. I mean, I think if we can get this secondary, I believe, if we can protect that.
I appreciate the call, Benjamin. Look, DK Metcalf had a huge game, certainly, and if the offensive line can play as well, you saw it last year. San Francisco just bullied the Cowboys, and that was their offseason approach. Yeah. We need to get more physical. They played physical tonight.
They did, and it's going to come down to really how well you can handle their skill players. McCaffrey, they don't drop the ball. They don't make mistakes. I mean, this is this team's won, 10, 11 straight games. Their quarterback is 6-0 right now. Maybe he'll come back to earth. You get Micah Parsons, you get some pass rush. You find a way, but this team will run the ball. They will try and test you all different ways. It's just not with the running backs. They hand the ball in those jet sweeps. They mess with your eyes and stuff like that. But, you could score. You could find ways to score. I'd say I'm going to be watching that Raider game and what Stidham was able to do because he lit their secondary up.
He did.
And I want to see how he did it.
Yeah. All right, let's go out to Nolan in Texas. What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing? I'm watching on YouTube. Chat some crazy about y'all. Love my boys. So here's my question. Now that we're going to face Brock Purdy and Mr. Irrelevant, do you think he'd be ready to take on the first-round offensive rookie of the year, Micah Parsons, and then they would take on Armstrong at the same time, knowing that he is the first ever Mr. Irrelevant to play in the playoff game?
It was a little bit hard to hear you there.
I didn't understand the question. I'm sorry. I'm old and
is it like Brock Purdy basically versus the Cowboys defense and Micah Parsons? Is that his toughest test?
Yeah, being that he's Mr. Irrelevant.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, this is, Dallas's defense presents challenges, and the great thing about it for you is that Dan Quinn, knows Kyle Shanahan, but then again, Kyle Shanahan knows Dan Quinn. So, who is going to be able to pull this off? If the Cowboys play like they did tonight and don't turn over the ball, they could beat anybody in the NFL.
Amen. Complimentary football.
Absolutely beat anybody in the NFL.
Let's go out to James III in Duncanville. What's going on, James?
Oh, man, you guys, man, this is my first time on, man. Thank you for taking this call, man.
Of course.
I want you guys to be a little patient with me. I'm from 1960, man, 13 years old, selling soda water in the Cotton Bowl, wanting to see the Dallas Texans and Cowboys, right?
Right.
And at one time, also, I wanted to go out for the Dallas Cowboys. And you know what? I'm learning a lot from you young brothers, man, because first of all, 99% of the time you guys are right. But you're wrong about our quarterback, man, when you put the blame on him. Dak is a rhythm-type quarterback. And do you know if any other quarterback ever get in the huddle and bump fists with the players, this guy is hungry, man. And if any parts of the team is not hungry, it throws him off. And he can't play right. That is the only thing wrong with Dak. We got a franchise quarterback, man. Don't y'all forget that. Build that brother up. We are in Dallas, Texas.
Man, I love it, James, and I think that we've tried to defend Dak, specifically on the postgame show, quite a few times here. I'm a Dak guy. I'm a Dak supporter.
Yeah,
and I get a little bit of grief.
I don't.
A little bit.
Seriously though, this is the struggle, and I wish you folks that are still listening, with us on this show right now. This is the struggle that you run into being on the radio and talking about this team 5 days a week, and then talking about this team in the pre and post game shows and stuff like that. When we point out that there are issues, with their, and the quarterback, it's not one of these things where you sit there and completely put all the blame on the quarterback. Michael Gallup hasn't played really well. Tyron Smith, who's a Hall of Fame player, hasn't played particularly well. There are guys that we have to be critical of. If you're sitting in our seat, you'll understand this. And I'm not saying this to be like, I'm bigger than you kind of thing. I'm just saying, though, when we point out things, we're not here to build people up. We're here to point out like, hey, they're good at this. And we pointed that out tonight. In the pregame show, postgame, whatever, we pointed out things. If you listen to our show 2 to 7 today or 2 to 4, I talked about how they were going to win this football game today. And so I'm trying to tell you that in a way to try and educate. But we're not here to like, oh, look, let's just slam on Dak today. That's not the gig. We want this team to win every damn game. I want the Mavs to win every game. The Stars. I want the Rangers. Because it's good for business.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to sit there, but when they don't do well, you have to be critical. And it ain't a personal thing. It is just what it is, And so, the people that get on and bash Dak and the people that cheer for Dak, you know what? Fine. Great. But our job is to try and be as down the middle as we can. And I think for the most part, we are.
Try and be fair. That's all we can do.
It's not all about Dak being good and Dak being bad. There are plenty of times, like I said, that we pointed out that the Hall of Fame right tackle is not playing like a Hall of Fame right tackle right now. or playing like a Hall of Fame tackle, or they're not, or Diggs, everybody loves Diggs. Diggs is giving up things and tackling.
He wants no part of tackling.
He wants none of that. But we point that out, but everybody out there will say, oh, well, you guys are a little hard on Diggs.
Still a great corner. It's not to say he's a bad player, but he needs to and he's going to need a tackle, man.
He's going to need to.
And it's going to show up against San Francisco if he doesn't want to.
Absolutely show up next week.
Absolutely will. But we try, just got to be as fair as possible. But we appreciate everyone who's been a part of this one, everyone who's been calling in. What a night. 31-14. Cowboys get a road win. They knock off Tom Brady and the Bucs. Their first win over Tom Brady in the history of the franchise. Their first road playoff win in 30 years. And their first road win in the Navy Blues since the 70s. Oh, how sweet it is. And now we've got a date. Sunday, 5:30 kick against the San Francisco 49ers to avenge last year's postseason defeat.
It's going to be a tough one. But you know what? The team, like you say, you played tonight. You played so well tonight. Defensively, you got pressure. You harassed Brady. You made him look human the way that, a playoff Tom usually is. But, you're going to have more challenges next week. But that's the playoffs. That is the playoffs. You're going to have to block just as well as you block tonight. The quarterback's going to have to play as well. And the penalties, the turnovers, all those things, you keep those things down. You got a shot at winning a football game.
Only 2 penalties for 15 yards.
That's Craig Wallace stats crew. I give them a lot of credit. They let him play. They let him play tonight.
Big thank you to Alec Medford, of course, to Ruben as well, Joey Erickson, to Tim Collins, to
Joey
Gavin Spittle, Joey the Jet. Big thank you to you as well, Brian Broaddus. Appreciate all your hard work. Eric Chiafalo in the pregame, and everybody who's been a guest. Brad Sham, Christy Scales, Babe Laufenberg, and to all the callers who've been hanging with us.
We'll
see you next week. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.